Hello, hello. I wasn't sure if I was talking or not. But now I know that it's working. Okay, how's everybody doing there? Can you let me know on your end how the video is doing? I see some people have put their information down already. I don't need to know degrees. I just need to know some simple factors here. But before we get going, let's see what people have written down here. And if you could also let me know in the box here how video is and how the audio is. That way I don't talk too much about it and find out that nobody can hear me. Okay? And I'm just writing a few things down here on a few people who have said things. Okay. Now, I may not get to everybody. I've got like about a half hour, so I'm going to do as many as I can. How many people can hear me, first of all, and how many people can see the video? And is the video smooth before we get going? Okay, great. So we had the person who said they had a Capricorn ascendant with Rahu in the 9th, and you've got Mercury in the 4th. Okay, so on my end, I'm just going to kind of go into a thing of visualizing this. So Capricorn ascendant, Rahu in the 9th, Mercury is in the 4th. So that is going to make Mercury in the 8th from Rahu. And that's also going to make it in the 4th from the ascendant. So what I would say in regards to that, so some sort of difficulty with your mother or some sort of difficulty in relation to home environment that can somehow be somewhat caught up in your belief systems, so to speak. In addition to that, there can be distance from the mother due to connection with the father. Okay, that's just a couple of quick things. And let's see, we also had somebody else that said they had a Pisces ascendant with Rahu in the 2nd from Pisces, and with Rahu in the 7th, which would be in Virgo. So, sorry, let me just kind of read that again. Rahu in the 2nd, right? All right, let me go back and read what somebody wrote. Sorry, it's people are typing in the windows so quickly that I'm writing things down on paper and I'm having to scroll back up. So Pisces ascendant, Rahu in the 2nd with Mars in the 7th. Okay, great. So what that means is that for you, there is a very big focus on family in many regards during your Rahu Dasha. And sometimes because of the focus that is on family, there can be stress in your relationships. That's one quick thing I would say about that. In addition to that, there can be a need in your life to focus on your own inner resourcefulness over and above relying on other people quite as much. And in addition to that, it may sometimes be difficult for you to trust that other people can handle doing things. You're somebody who likes to do things for people and likes to help people, but there can quite often be a need to let people do things themselves. Okay? So if people could do me a favor as well, it really makes it easier for me to visualize it. So if you can tell me your ascendant, if you can tell me where Rahu is placed from your ascendant, and if you can also tell me where the Lord or the dispositor of Rahu is from Rahu as well. I'll try to visualize it myself, but it would make it a lot easier. Okay, somebody is saying, and I'm just going to touch on some simple things because we've got so many people tapping into the window here that it can obviously be difficult for me to stay on top of it. So I'm seeing a Libra ascendant with Rahu in the second house in Scorpio, and Mars is in the 12th. Okay, so that means that during your Rahu dasha, so your Libra ascendant, so Rahu is in the, see, I've lost track of it already. Okay, let's write this down on a piece of paper. Okay, Libra, Rahu in second, in Scorpio. Okay, and Mars in the 12th. Okay, so let's bring that up. Okay, so Rahu in the second. First of all, let's talk about Rahu in the second. And because we've had two of those, and let's also talk about Rahu and Scorpio, which is where your placement is. Okay, so with Rahu joining the second, as I was saying before, in this lifetime, the focus can be more on one's own inner resourcefulness, in contrast to previous lifetimes where you were probably a little more reliant on the resources of others, and being reliant upon the resources of others, it likely brought a certain degree of stability into your life. But the lesson that you're being asked to learn through Rahu in this particular lifetime is one of being resourceful on your own. But as you do so, you may find yourself in positions where you have dreams or aspirations, and those dreams or aspirations quite often end up in a position where you have to kind of give up on them, right? In addition to that, you may have this constant pining or constant dream of being free or breaking free of restrictions that you feel are limiting you. In addition to that, Rahu in Scorpio tends to create this inner longing, and it's a longing that has a very big difficulty being fulfilled. When Ketu is in Scorpio, Ketu is in Taurus. Quite often the individual in previous lifetimes has been more accustomed to relating to life from the perspective of going, as long as I am materially secure in life, things are going to end up being okay. And Rahu's path in this lifetime is trying to place them in a position where they recognize that material stability is not the be-all and end-all. They also need to feel fulfilled inside of themselves so that they can be emotionally strong. So it's about balancing material security along with emotional security, and tapping into your own resourcefulness in order to bring that into your life. Only you're likely going to be tested throughout this lifetime in terms of reaching the goals that you're wishing to reach. Now, that can seem really kind of harsh, but really what it's all about is to just teach you to be resourceful and recognize that it's not necessarily your dreams and the realization of them that are important, in as much as it is getting into the space of being emotionally secure and solid within yourself, and no amount of security or stability outside of yourself is going to make you feel that way. Okay. Now, I do want to mention to people that I'm able to touch on just a little bit based on Rahu and Ketu here. But I also do offer several different tiers of astrological service, which are available through my website. And one of those tiers of service has something called a karmic analysis, where I'm able to do an in-depth assessment of your placement of Ketu and Rahu through your Shastiyamsha chart, in addition to your Rashi chart. And we can go a lot deeper with these particular things if you want to schedule something in with me. Okay, so I'm just going to take things as I see them here in the chart. And so please do not feel bad if I miss you. It's hard to keep on top of it. I'm seeing a Libra ascendant, Rahu, 10th, and Virgo, okay, and Mercury in the ascendant. Okay. So let's go to that. So we've got a Libra ascendant with Rahu in the 10th. Okay, that's not really matching. It can't be a Libra ascendant with Rahu in the 10th in Virgo. So are you sure about that? I'm going to come back to you because really it can't be a Libra ascendant with Rahu in the 10th in Virgo. That doesn't match. So please, can you tell me what you're saying there? I'm a little bit confused about that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to another one, and hopefully I'll be able to catch up to you. All right, so I have somebody here who's saying, getting lots of Libra ascendants today. So Rahu and Moon in 9th in Gemini, and Mercury in the 8th. Okay. Okay, so let's go into this one that we just had. So we've got Libra ascendant with Rahu and the Moon in Gemini, and Mercury placed in the 8th in Taurus. Okay, so we can see that. So let's start, first of all, with Rahu in Gemini. Rahu in Gemini is going to make you test out your belief systems through the experience of trial and error in your life, right? The reason being is in a previous lifetime, you most likely intellectualized your beliefs, and intellectualizing your beliefs kind of placed you in a position where difficulty came into your life, so you may not feel like you can really trust your beliefs, or may have at some point in your life felt this way, dependent upon when Rahu has been active in your chart. So you believe that you need to kind of test out your beliefs through the path of trial and error, but quite often you may find yourself doing this in a position where you're doing it in a very intellectual manner. Mixed in with that, there can be in your life a lot of difficulty in relation, I would say, on many levels with work or career. That brings a lot of difficulty in your life, and it's difficult for you to confront the pain that you may have connected with that. And due to that, you may sometimes find yourself kind of fleeing into your imagination, or going more into your head, rather than confronting the pain that's there in your heart. Now, as Rahu begins to play its path out in Gemini, making you explore the process of trial and error in relation to your beliefs, the way that Rahu tends to do that kind of places you in a position where you encounter a lot of loss and encounter a lot of difficulty, or you may have found yourself in a position where you need to be able to rely on somebody else, but you find yourself in a position where it's difficult for you to feel like you can rely on anybody at all. And mixed in with that, while all this happens, you have this strong desire to be free, but equally this strong need to feel like you can rely on somebody else, and it's very difficult for you to balance those two things out. Okay. So just a reminder too, again, I can only touch briefly on these things because not knowing the rest of the placements of the planets in your chart, it's very difficult for me to do that. And obviously the rest of the divisional charts play into the equation. Is anybody else having a hard time hearing me or seeing me? Because I've had somebody just say, why can't I hear anything? So can somebody, audio is off. Okay. Right, let me just check and see if I can see any reason why my audio should be off. Is my audio off? I'm seeing audio on my end. And I'm seeing that it's broadcasting. Audio's good? Audio's on. Okay, great. Now, let us see who else we can find here. Okay, so I'm just going to take the first one that I see. Right. Thank you, everybody, for saying you can see me. I'm trying to read somebody's Rahu here, too. Okay, thank you. Right. Okay. So Aquarius ascendant. Okay. You're all typing so fast that I'm having a hard time putting it down. Rahu in first. Dispositor Saturn in 11th, which is going to be Sagittarius. Okay. All right, so let's talk first of all about Rahu in the first in Aquarius. Okay, so Rahu in the first. Let's talk about Ketu in the seventh in order to get a good idea of that. When Ketu is in the seventh, in previous lifetimes, relationships were something that was very important to you. In addition to that, your public how you appeared to the public was also something that was very important. It could have been in a previous lifetime that you came from a noble family, or perhaps even nobility. And so you're used to finding yourself in positions where, in order to feel like your life is secure, it's important that you feel that you're projecting a sense of nobility, right? The only thing is when you have Ketu in the seventh, then obviously with Rahu in the first, the pull is more towards defining who you are as an individual. The thing is you like to carry this noble presence forward with you into your life. You still feel this tendency to project that, right? And whereas previously you had this connection or security of a relationship or security of public opinion in order to make you feel comfortable, now you don't have that peer approval that you desire in this particular lifetime. And that makes it really difficult for you to feel that you fit in with your peers, right? And you may find yourself constantly seeking validation for who you are. Rahu in the first is a very difficult position because people who have Rahu in the first don't live what one would term an ordinary life, so to speak. For them, life can be very intense. They have a lot of very difficult experiences. Rahu in the first is always searching for itself, and it will very intensively identify with things and people that comes into your life, so to speak, right? You'll identify if you get really into something, you get really, really into something because you're, let's say for instance, you're getting into astrology. You'll get really into astrology and you'll identify with astrology and you'll think, wow, the astrology is really where it's at and this is how I define myself. And then at some point you find out that that doesn't really work for you anymore, right? And that's because you're trying to identify yourself with something that's outside of you. Okay, so instead, you are inside of yourself, and what you have to do is become comfortable with yourself, within yourself. And you may find yourself feeling somewhat disillusioned with peer groups that you're involved in, much in the same way. You're identifying with a peer group, right? And you're looking for that validation. And then when you get a little bit of that validation, you may find yourself attaching to that. And then when the validation's gone, again, you may kind of suffer from a little bit of an identity crisis in association with that. The key with this particular placement is to understand, and please don't perceive any of this as criticism, it's just reading the chart, is simply to understand that one has no need to project a sense of dignity, and one equally has no need to feel embarrassed or humiliated. You just need to be yourself within circumstances and be comfortable with yourself, within yourself, even if you seem different from everybody else in your life. Okay? All right, let's see if we can handle one or two more. And just a reminder again, if you would like a complete assessment of this, you can also achieve that through the astrological services page of my website at AuthenticAstrology.com. Okay, so I've got Gemini ascendant, Rahu in second, Moon in first. Okay. Now, Gemini ascendant, I was talking about, well, we know Gemini ascendant. You've got Rahu in Cancer. Let's talk about the Ketu in Capricorn, Rahu in Cancer axis. Okay, when Ketu is in Capricorn, these are people who like to feel that their life is very organized, right? They need for their life to be materially structured so that everything is stable and everything is secure. They do this in order to feel secure within themselves, because life can be difficult, and with that, it's important for them to feel that should anything come along that's difficult, that they're prepared and that they're able to handle it. Now, when you have Rahu in Cancer, what that begins to create for the individual is, whether they're aware of it or not, they can be very controlled with their emotions. Most likely because emotionally they're very deep, right? But being so deep emotionally, it feels difficult for them to exist within this realm of existence. It makes things very challenging for them. So they have learned coping mechanisms, which basically amount to controlling the emotions rather than letting the emotions flow. Now, with Ketu and Rahu, you always need a balance. So material structure can be good, but also enjoying life is equally important. But it can be very difficult for you to place your trust in other individuals. Most likely your trust has been violated in the past. And when your trust has been violated in the past, on some levels, it has affected your self-esteem. And so you try to place yourself in a position where you can go, you know what, as long as I'm okay with myself, everything is going to be okay. But you tend to do that through controlling the emotions. And ultimately what that's going to do is make things more difficult in your external life, until you learn to let the emotions flow and process the emotions as and when they arise for you. Okay, let's take a look at some more. I think we may have time for one or two more. And I'm wearing my headset tonight because my voice is getting a little bit raw, so please pardon me if it sounds different. No worries. Somebody who's saying thank you. All right. Aquarius, Lagna, right. So that's that one I'm going to skip over because I think somebody misunderstood. Virgo, ascendant, Rahu, 7th, 10th house, Jupiter, Moon, Venus. Okay, trying to keep up with everybody here. And I think I've lost that person already. Let's see. Ascendant Virgo, Rahu 7th in Pisces, 10th house Jupiter, Moon, and Venus in Gemini. Okay. Virgo ascendant, Rahu in the 7th. Okay, so let's touch on that a little bit. Rahu in Pisces. Let's talk about Ketu and Virgo first, because you always have to have Ketu and Virgo, Ketu and Rahu together, obviously. Ketu in Virgo, I like to refer to this as the what a good boy or what a good girl am I syndrome. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, with Ketu in Virgo, there has tended to be a tendency in previous lifetimes when one puts in a lot of effort and then something works out in the individual's life as a result of putting in a lot of effort. In their mind, they think the harder I work, the more I will be able to achieve. But really, the things that they were achieving happened because it was in their destiny for those things to happen. It wasn't necessarily their doing or lack of doing that created the success or lack of it in their life. Only thing is they think that it is those things that are creating it. Okay. Now, with that being the case, this will likely play itself out for you in the area of two different things. Okay, first of all, you may find yourself in positions where you put yourself first in life. But because you put yourself first in life, life feels like it's a bit of a struggle for you. right? The only thing is it's a little bit difficult for you to trust in your relationships. In addition to that, your career, you may find yourself in positions where your career comes first before anything else, and you work hard in order to be successful because you may really identify with your career. But that doesn't necessarily help your relationships in that regard, right? In addition to that, you've got, so we're saying Rahu in the 7th, so Jupiter's in the 4th from that, the 4th and the 10th. In addition to that, one of the things I would say is this also may play itself out through mother and father. Something around mother and father can make it difficult for you in your relationships, and you may struggle really hard in order to make relationships work for you, but relationships ultimately can be something that's difficult for you. The key in this particular lifetime is one of feeling secure with your success, regardless of the level of the success that you have, feeling secure with what you have, right? Feeling confident with what you have. And that's not an external thing. That's an internal thing. You have to feel secure within yourself. Success is not something that's outside of you. Success is something that's within you. Until you get into that space, it can be difficult for you to have relationships that feel as if they are functional for you. And so that needs to be the focus, is feeling secure that you are successful rather than feeling that you have to work hard in order to achieve a specific level of material success. Okay, I think that we might have time to do one last one. Okay, so I see, okay, right, Sagittarius ascendant, Rahu in 10th, Sag, Rahu, 10th, in Virgo, Mercury in Sag. Okay. So we've got a Sagittarius ascendant. We've got Rahu in the 10th. In addition to that, we have Mercury in the 1st, which is in the 4th from Rahu, and in the 1st from the ascendant. So for you, you need to get into a space where you're able to place your emotional security first, over and above your material security. The only thing is that is something that's very difficult for you to do. Okay, because emotions can be somewhat of a difficult point. Life to you feels like a struggle. And you may find yourself throughout the course of your life, when you're faced with that struggle, trying to organize it all externally. So when things go sour, when you're like kind of feeling like you're out of sorts within yourself, you'll go, well, I need to organize my life outside of myself so that I can make things in my life feel more stable and secure. But much like the other person that I was talking about, you're not going to find your life being stable and secure by organizing it externally. If you organize it internally, inside of yourself, and how do you do that? By not suppressing your emotions. You may think you're detaching from your emotions, or you may think that you're detaching from your emotions, and in addition to that, surrendering to God, because you've been on a path of surrender for many different lifetimes, but your detachment is not yet complete, and your level of faith is not yet complete as well. So you're in a position in this particular lifetime where you get placed in these struggles, and when you deal with these material struggles, you strive to stay on top of it, and that's just there to teach you ever deeper levels of surrender. But in order to get into that space of true detachment, you have to process through the emotions. You have to let the emotions move. You don't have to attach to them. You don't have to wallow in your emotions per se, but you need to let them flow, because emotions are meant to move. They're not meant to be held on to, right? And I'll share something with you. There was once a great sage who said that in the wink of an eye, in the blink of an eye, we think 1,000 thoughts, right? Some of those thoughts actually turn into emotions and they move. But obviously, we can't process that many emotions, like, in the blink of an eye, right? So when we can't process the emotions that are attached to those emotions get repressed into our subconscious mind. Eventually, that subconscious mind will get filled with all those thoughts and emotions, and then it will dump those thoughts and emotions into the unconscious mind. And when the unconscious mind is full, we project that onto our external life, and our external life becomes completely topsy-turvy because we're meant to confront where we are emotionally insecure. We're meant to process through those emotions. One of the best things that can help you with that, meditation. Okay, so meditation is very important for your path. I'm going to have to stop there, people. It's been really a lot of fun doing this. Maybe we can do this again. But again, if you would like for me to take a look at your chart specifically in this way, we can even go a little bit more in depth with it, because one of the things I do is I look at house cusps, I look at house cusp nakshatras, and that places a whole different level to the interpretation. And that's something that's included in the karmic analysis that is on the astrological services page of my website. In addition to that, I have a tier 1 and tier 2 service that include a karmic analysis in addition to 4 questions. We'll do another live event sometime soon. In the meantime, please consider visiting my astrological services page, where there are many other services aside from that. Bye now, and please do take the very, very, very best care of yourself.